has come. We went through a lot of evil, as many of you know. We had the wicked that had bet the farm, their soul, everything on their efforts to destroy the Lord's Passover with us. They put all their eggs in the basket, and they failed miserably. Thank God for that. So we always put our faith in the Lord. We put our trust in the Lord, but that doesn't rule out the fact that we have to be on the forefront of thinking, on the forefront of continuing to plan against the endeavors of the wicked. So we always, a lot of times you may notice that some of us may be, I'm trying to gather how some of y'all may perceive us in leadership in terms of trying to make sure that the nation of Israel is stabilized. There's a lot of work that's put into the leadership to protect the flock. A lot of evil can come over the airwaves. A lot of evil can come through your computer, through your cell phones, and different mediums, communication mediums. And we have to work hard to make sure that you don't become bird box. And the reason why I say that is because we in the leadership, I'm going to speak about us just for a moment. We in the leadership, we understand demons. We understand Satan. And when I say we understand Satan, because we read this Bible, we understand this devil's tricks, and some of them are real good, and it might take a while for us to catch on. But we know that the ultimate goal and desire of the wicked is to destroy the souls of Israel. And I've seen that in countless times, whether they be behind a table like I'm teaching now, or whether I'm at the camp teaching. And I've seen how, I'll give you an example, we'll be teaching a brother or sister, and Satan, just like the scripture says, cometh immediately to try to undo the work of the Lord inside that brother or that sister's head. And to show you that it's Satan, the moment that they pull the brother or the sister away from the camp, as soon as they do that, the demon goes his way, and the brother or the sister goes another way. I've seen that countless times. That's not only in the street, but that happens in the congregation as well. Some of y'all will be sent videos, sent this, sent that, and the minute you get, and they're all your friends, we got this, they say all kinds of stuff that wow you and twist your head up. The moment you fall out of this truth, you don't see them no more. And I'm talking from nearly 30 years of experience, I've been seeing this. I've sat in congregations. This is not my first congregation that I've sat in front of. I've sat in front of many congregations, classrooms full of people, and damn near all of them are going into the world because they allow someone to bird box them. And my point is, the people that got bird boxed back out in the world, nobody's trying to reach them. I can sit off and I can run names of people that has been in this truth 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, names that y'all never heard of. But they sat right here. And because their so-called friend was so close to them and was so, we in the scriptures together, we saw this, we saw that. Soon as that brother's head got messed up and he couldn't find his way back home, they back him to the world doing all kinds of evil, and nobody's looking for these spirits. Nobody. And they are on full skid row. And I'm talking hundreds. So when we make the point about us trying to protect you, it's not only coming from just us sitting here like we're experimenting. No, we've been there. We've seen the results of it. We know what we're talking about. So there's a lot of effort that comes from leadership to make sure that the flock is protected. Y'all understand that? Yes, sir. So, like I said, this class was wisdom, knowledge, and deception. Deception. That part of the class will come up later because I'm sure I'm not going to get to that. But I want to talk about wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge. And the knowledge is applying God's laws as we understand. And when we when we read, let me start it that way. When we read God's laws, we understand it by reading it. We read it. Then the question comes studying it. Bishop makes the point, what he call it, SPA. Study, pray, right? And apply. That's the key. Study doesn't mean just simply reading it. Let me expound on that. when you read a verse, go through the words of the verse. Maybe you might need to look up certain words in the verse so that you can understand what the verse is actually saying. Once you understand what the verse is saying, then you pray upon the understanding of what the verse actually means, or the verses or the chapters. You pray for that so that you can really get a good grasp of what the message is being said to you. Then you apply it. You apply it. You actually go out in this world and take what you've studied, what you've learned, and apply it into situations. That's how you begin to learn. When we was in, how many of y'all saw the Patient Saints radio show last Sunday? How many of y'all missed it? Oh, wow, y'all missed a good program. Patient Saints Radio, the leadership was on there. Myself, Bishop Nathaniel, Deacon Asaph, Deacon Laba, Deacon Malachi, Deacon Ithon. The whole panel was there, basically. The whole panel on Patient Saints Radio, and it was a live audience. Live audience. And brothers and sisters were standing up, and they were asking questions about certain things, particularly about their walk in this truth. And one brother asked a question, and I'm trying to remember how the question was. He asked a question that more dealt with about him studying. And he said, in so many words, I know I'm not quoting him, but he said something like, is there a situation where you can study too much? Like too much into the Bible? And because he was saying maybe there needs to be some balance. That's the word that the understanding of this question came out about balance. And I've heard this being spoken before. They say, man, all you do is read that Bible. ASAP will tell you about that. Every time I turn around, you got that Bible. Man, why don't you put that Bible down and get some Hennessy? That's an inside joke, but Deacon Asaph knows exactly what I'm talking about. Me and him used to work together. He was telling a story about how when he came into the truth, I used to teach him in the hospital where we worked at. Teaching him in the stairwells, stuff like that. And a brother came, a dude that worked in the hospital came down and caught us in the stairwell, reading and studying. And he said, what? You man got the Bible? Yo, man, y'all need some Hennessy. Just like that. And we laughed. It was funny, but it shows you where the Negro mind is. That's what he said to us. That was funny. But again, that thought goes to what people say. Bible, yesterday, today, tomorrow, last week, all I see is you brothers with is a Bible. So I say all of that because some people may actually think that that's a legitimate point. Too much Bible. I told him no. Because I think several of us answered the question for him. But then we all had our segment on what we wanted to zero in concerning his question. Everybody's with me, right? So I said to him, I said, study, in so many words, I don't remember verbatim, but this is what I meant. I said, study has more to do with you just simply reading the Bible. As we read, like I was saying earlier, you read the verse, understand the words in the verse, understand what the chapters and the verses are saying, but study goes well beyond that. So I said, there's no such thing as you studying too much, because studying actually applies when the book is closed. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You read the Bible, you read the scripture, you get the understanding of it, and you retain it in your mind, then you go out and apply it. As you take the words of the Bible, as they're inside your spirit, and you are experiencing certain situations outside, the Bible comes to mind. The laws of God comes to mind. You begin to ask, what would I do in this situation? What do I do in that situation? When this problem comes up, how do I handle it? When this person is saying X, Y, and Z to me, how do I handle that? That's you, again, you're studying. Because what you're doing is you're applying the words of the Most High inside your actual life. So it's not just you reading the Bible. So study involves more than just sitting with the Bible all the time, because you got to eat. You can't have the Bible then. You got to put on clothes. You got to shower. Got to go to work. Got to go to school. Different things that we do. So you can't have the Bible in your hand while you're doing all of that. So how is it that the Bible is supposed to relate to your life. The information that's in the Bible is supposed to be in your head so that when you are in these other situations, the words of God comes clear to you. And whenever you're faced with certain situations, you apply God's law. That's also a part of study. That's also a part of application. That's why I always had a class, I don't even know if I taught it here, called Scripture and Application. That's what that was about. Learning how to apply the words of the Most High in actual situations. That's what's going to clean us up. That's what's going to help us get the kingdom, brothers and sisters. That's what's going to keep us from evil. When we learn how to apply what we're reading and practice it, that's when things are going to really move for us. Y'all all right? And that's what we're working on. Sure. Go ahead.
What Deacon is saying, and I think the bishop is making a point, that as soon as you read the Bible, as soon as you open the Bible to read it, you should be dealing with whatever issues you have going on, right? The application is the Most High is going to activate the test of what you just read. So as soon as you start to read the scriptures and you're dealing with a certain spirit, now the Most High is going to create circumstances to see if you're going to apply what you just read in the Bible. That's where the test comes in at. The application is the test is going to happen once you're done reading, then the test happens. That's how the application gets put into the scriptures.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
And just what he's saying, I think I've shared with some of you brothers before, likewise, is that just like when you sit down here to play the food, you can only take in so much. It has to run a cycle. You got to digest that. You understand what I'm saying? Your body got to take in. Same thing with the Word of God. You reading, you studying, take that and go meditate on that. You can't try to go through this whole Bible and just like that in 1 month or 2 months. You understand what I'm saying? Take it a little, just like a child. You can only give milk, okay? But you have to take that little by little. Let that digest it in the spirit, okay? Let it get the vitamins and nutrients of this word in your spirit and grow from it. Then you can continue to move on through the process that God is trying to get you through. You understand? Because He's going to put too much more on you can bear. If the Most High wanted to, He can flood you so much with this knowledge, you'd be in a nut house somewhere. You'd be in a nut house trying to take all this stuff. That's why you see brothers, if they're not keeping the law, statute, commandments for one thing, and reading this Bible, and they go off to, you see them bug out. You see them, they were once sharp in these scriptures. But now they can't even comprehend. They don't sound right no more. Have y'all seen that before, sisters? Exactly. Go ahead, Dee.
Right. Exactly. Now I'm going to give you a scripture that backs up what we were just talking about. Go to St. Mark chapter 4, and we're going to read verse 16 to 18. I'm going to show you what we're talking about, because what Officer Eli had made the point was, the Lord, when you start to read this Bible, then the Lord sets up a field for you to apply what you've learned. Y'all understand? This doesn't really happen to people out in the world now, so you can get the understanding. Most people that when they come in here, they haven't been through any trials, they haven't been through any tribulation because they have not learned the Bible yet. But once you begin to learn the Bible, then Satan, because Satan says, there's a conversation going on. Give me that, Joe, real quick. I'm going to be quick, then we're coming back to this, because there's a discussion. Every time any brother or sister come through these doors, come into repentance, there's a discussion happening in the spirit world about you. There's a conversation that's going on about you. Yes, my little insignificant self that you think. You're not insignificant. You've been called out of evil. You've been called out of wickedness. You've been called out of sin. You've been called out of an abomination living. Like that song, Abomination. Huh? You've been called out of that. Mozart called you, he tapped you on the shoulder, and you say, you know what? Let me get on in here. Sometimes it takes a little beating up to get in here. Sometimes people don't want to adhere to the first knock. Yea, once, yea, twice, but man don't perceive it, that the Lord is hitting them upside that noggin. Say, listen, I'm trying to get you in my truth. You don't want it. Bam! Hit you again. You're still trying to disobey it. Then the next thing you know, you're in a situation where you almost lost your life. Huh? Yeah. Car flipped over. Everybody else dead except you. You're like, oh, hell. That's the Lord saying, okay, I told you I got work for you. I have need of thee. Huh? Then he brings you behind in here. So when you come in here, there's a discussion that's happening. Because you might not know how special you are when the Lord calls you in here. You just think about it. We've been brought up here on the slave ships and been called everything but the children of the Lord. All kinds of evil things have been said against us, all kinds of traps, all kinds of plots. Man, I'm an older guy than some of you. And I've ventured through many of the plots and the traps, read about them, seen them, experienced it. And you will not believe the level of evil that has been launched against you to keep you from coming through these doors and getting in this truth. This truth that God gave to us only. So there's some great opposition. Okay, so when you come in through these doors, there's a conversation about you. Let's see. Job
chapter 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
And Satan came also among the council that God was having with the angels, the sons of God. Y'all all right? Satan came among them. Oh, wait a minute. That something don't sound right. You mean Satan? I thought Satan was kicked out of heaven. So they taught you lies in church.
Right.
Satan is up there with the Most High. Okay? Actually, that scripture that everybody quotes in church about Satan being kicked out of heaven, that hasn't even happened yet. That's in Revelation chapter 12, and the Satan that's talking about is this white man kicked out of his heaven, meaning his rulership. That's when the saints of the Most High should take the kingdom. That's what that's talking about, straight up. Okay? That's what Isaiah chapter 14 is talking about. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? It's talking about the same thing. Which did weaken the nations? Who dropped bombs on people? The so-called white man. He's the devil. He's the Lucifer. He's Satan. He's the Satan that the Bible's talking about being kicked out of his heaven, which is his rulership. That's what that means. Okay? So, read that again.
Job chapter 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Wait a minute, Satan, what are you coming up here for? Didn't I kick you out of heaven? That never happened that way. And Satan came among them. Satan knew that he had a seat there.
And the Lord said unto Satan.
Y'all might not understand that. Maybe I need to go a step further. I'm sorry. Just hold on. I ain't going to lose a thought. I just got to just drill it in a little bit more. Give me that scripture in Kings. You know what I'm talking about? Where King Ahab was to be persuaded to go down and fought. Right, that one. Listen to this.
1 Kings chapter 22 verse 17. And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace.
Go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me?
So they did not want this brother to tell the truth about what was about to go down. In other words, our people want to hear lies. So he said, read that again. And he said what?
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee?
Didn't I tell you that this man wasn't going to say nothing favorable? Go ahead.
That he would prophesy no good concerning me.
Because the thing that he said what was unfavorable was in 17. And I saw all Israel scattered on the hill and no shepherd. And they all need to go back home because they're going to lose. But they didn't want to hear that. Everybody's with me? Read.
But evil. And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left.
And all the hosts of heaven sitting. You see that? And all the hosts of heaven. Read that again. And all the hosts.
And all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right.
By him, the Most High. Standing by him. Go ahead.
On his right hand.
On his right hand side is what? The righteous angels. Because when Christ was transfigured, what did the Spirit say? This is my son. Well, that was the Most High. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. And he put him on the what? Right hand side of the Most High. Righteousness. Go ahead.
And on his left.
And on his left, which are the evil angels. Like when you read Psalms 40, what is it? Psalms 79 and 40, something like that. 70, what is it? Psalm 78:49, right? Sending evil angels among them. So there's evil angels that God sends.
It's Sirach 39 and 28.
Right. Right. Angels for what? For vengeance. For vengeance. These are the evil angels. By sending evil angels among them. So God is in control of both sides. Y'all all right? Okay, read.
Verse 20. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at
Gilead. Go ahead.
And one said on this manner.
And one of the evil spirits said, I'll do this. Go ahead.
And another said on that manner.
And another one said, no, that ain't good enough because I got something even better. These are evil spirits speaking. Go ahead.
And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord.
So this one is this one said, listen, both of y'all move out the way. I got the real deal right here. This is the potent stuff. This is the crack. I got the crack. Go ahead.
And said, I will persuade him.
I will persuade him. See, a lot of people look at strange and say, what is he reading? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, wherewith?
Hey, the Lord said, okay, well, look, what kind of crack you got?
And
I'm dramatizing it so you can get the understanding. Go ahead.
And he said, I will go forth and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
And he said, the spirit said back to the Most High, said, listen, I got it. I will go forth and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. So that means that the people following these false prophets basically are going to hearken to lies. That's what happens to these groups when they leave here. They find a brother or somebody that think they got some, and the Most High says it's time for me to give them their delusion, and they take their delusional behinds out, and they take the simple with them. That's what we read. So that's the reason why we work as hard as we do to try to prevent you brothers and sisters from getting swept up into evil. Y'all all right now?
Yes, sir.
Read.
And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so.
And go forth and do so. And that's exactly what happened. He was persuaded and he got put to death. Okay. Now, Job. Go back to Job. So when we read about Satan coming among them, we just read the example there. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Job chapter 1 and verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou?
Where you coming from, Satan?
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Now this right here shows you that the Most High is a man of war. He's asking Satan as if he didn't know. The Most High is the Almighty. That's what they call him, right? That's the title. He's the all omnipresent. He got a whole list of titles that just names him as just the baddest pure bad. That he just knows everything. So why is he going to, in a way say, whence cometh thou, Satan, like Satan gonna lie? How in the world is Satan gonna lie? Just like when the people lied to Christ, Christ knew right off the bat. Told the woman, thou hast had 5 husbands. What the hell you mean you got just one? Christ knew. Huh? So you ain't gonna get away with nothing with the Most High. Read that again.
Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
That's what I've been doing. So what is he saying? I've been going up and down looking for who I can turn back to wickedness. That's what he's saying. That's my job. That's what Satan is saying. Listen, I've been in the earth doing my job. My job is to try to get people to break your commandments and to stay in evil. That's what Satan's job is. The word Satan means adversary, which means opposer, which means to be against. That's Esau. That's him. That's why it says that in Thessalonians, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God. That ain't talking about Satan there. That's talking about Esau, the so-called white man, because he's the devil's children. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
That's what that means. Read.
Verse 8. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job?
Have thou considered my servant Job? So here's the conversation. I'm bringing you back to the reason why we're here. Everybody's with me? I know I took y'all on a little journey, but I told y'all we're going to stay the course. So the conversation is about Job. Job was a man, when you read the beginning of the book, he was a man that eschewed much evil. He eschewed evil. Righteous man. He was the most righteous man in all the East. That's what the scripture said about him. Y'all all right? So Satan has said, well, he ain't being righteous for nothing. In other words, there's a conversation going on about Job. They're discussing Job. Satan is having a discussion about Job with the Lord to see if he can get Job to go against the Most High. And then you begin to, as you read through the book, you get to read how that was happening. The wife turned against him at one point. Children got put to death. Job had to turn to the woman and said, look, you sound like one of the crazy women. You're supposed to know this Bible like me. Hint to some of you sisters to make sure that y'all be on point with your husband. Stop this foolishness. I ain't talking about y'all in particular. If the shoe fit, I'm going to throw it and you'll put it on. Read.
Hast thou considered my servant Job?
Have thou considered my servant Job? Because there's a conversation about Job. So, I say that to say this here. When you come through these doors, the conversation is being held about you. That's the point. When you come into this truth, there's a conversation being held about you. I just proved it. Okay? So that's the reason why I said you're not insignificant. You are special to the Most High. When you come in here, the Lord called you in here because he wants you to do his work. He wants you to be involved in his gospel. He wants you to be involved in his salvation. That's a level of love that no other nation can claim. That's a level of love that the Most High bestowed upon us when we didn't even deserve it because we disobeyed him. He allowed his son to get killed, murdered, put to death so that we can get that chance to come in through this gospel. And for our people to come in here and mess up and go back out, that's the reason why the Lord said there's no coming back once they do that, because they crucified Christ again. Okay, and there remains no more sacrifice for them. That's the end of them. So it's impossible for them to get it back once they turn their back and blaspheme against his word. So be very careful, brothers and sisters. So when you come into this gospel, it's a very serious thing when you come in here. But there's a conversation that's going on about every last one of you as you sit through this, as you come in through these doors and begin to pick up these scriptures. Now, I said enough for them to get back to your point about how the Lord tries us. When you were out there, you were not being tried in this Bible. You were not being tried in what we're reading in Mark chapter 4. That's what we're about to read now. Y'all all right? Let's read that.
Mark chapter 4 and verse 15. And 16. And these are
well,
they.
Let me see. Yeah, 16 is another group. That's the reason why I want to start there.
Okay.
Verse 15 was the one that I talked about when I said that we be at camp and Satan comes immediately and take them out. Y'all heard me talk about that, right? 16 begins another group. Go ahead.
Mark chapter 4 and verse 16. And these are they likewise, which are sown on stony ground.
These are they likewise, meaning the same brothers and sisters that are called into this truth. They made it into the body now. They're not just at the camp. They're here. They're picking up the Bible and they're quote-unquote studying. Y'all all right? But before they began to study, no real trials came to them because they have not, just like you pointed out, they have not read anything. They have not studied anything. So they don't get a chance to apply because they never read it. Because they never read it because it was out there in the street. But once they come in here and the scriptures start coming to them and they start taking their notes like what you're supposed to be doing, and then you go home and start reading, start studying and say, oh, I remember when I was in this situation when I was in the world. Wow, I wish I would have known that then. I would have done this instead of that. Y'all all right? So the Lord gives you a chance now that you're learning it to see how you're going to deal. That's what Officer Eli was bringing up. Read that.
Who, when they had heard the word, immediately received it with gladness.
They received it with gladness. Oh, I'm part of the truth. Come, Yahshua. Y'all all right? Mean rise Israel. Kwam Yahshua Allah, Israel. Okay? So for those that don't know, that's Hebronics. Y'all all right? Hebronics. Read.
Verse 17, and have no root in themselves.
And have no root in themselves. Why? Because they did not really study, neither did they apply. But they were reading it, playing around with it. Because somebody told them that they were studying too much. Somebody told them, said, listen, you got that Bible all the time. So you say, oh, okay, I'm going to just fake the funk, just come in and just sit. Yeah, read, go home, Bible don't open up till next week. No application, no nothing. You violating laws left and right. And you're in your houses, in your school, at work, laws being violated up, down, left, right, backwards, and forwards. Then you come back, open up the Bible again. You're going to be just like what we're reading here. So going back to the point where Officer Eli was brought up, the trials is going to come when you start applying, when you start reading what's in this Bible, and the Lord is going to say, now that you've read it, you're on the hook. Test time. When you go out these doors, you don't have to have the Bible in your hand. The Lord's going to say, let's see if you retain what you've been, quote unquote, studying. And then situations are going to come up and see how you handle them. I said it because that's what we were telling the brother. That's what we were telling the brother at Atlanta. Your test's going to come. You get your application and study comes when you learn how to not only read it, but to applying it to what you've read. And that's what we're talking about. Y'all all right? So that alone is that's a heavy lesson. Just that understanding alone can take us from here to almost to the kingdom. Just if we understood that alone. Talking about I need some milk of the scriptures. That's a whole bowl of milk. That's a gallon of milk. Just apply that and you'll be good. Huh? You got the whole cow. That's right. Apply, when you go through these scriptures, read it, understand it. Then you got brothers, you got senior officers, you got different people that you can go to help get the understanding of these scriptures. Then when you leave, apply. And that goes to your sisters too. You sisters ain't supposed to be just sitting looking pretty. No. Learn this gospel. Learn this gospel. Y'all all right? Read on. You got something else? Oh.
What Deke is saying is, when we look at 2 Corinthians 13:5, and it says, examine yourself. The minute you open the Bible, how many of us deal sometimes with impatient? We're impatient. Sometimes we're impatient, right? So you're impatient. Guess what? The Most High, as soon as you leave your house, it might be a husband dealing with his wife, and she's taking too long to get dressed. You got to be at the school, or you leaving the house to go to work, and the traffic. So all these things are going to test what? Your patience. Now you got to apply the scriptures to deal with your own spirit, not the person in front of you. You could have left 15 minutes early and you still would have been late. But the Most High is dealing with that particular issue within your body. That fruit in that spirit, the Most High is trying to conjure up. He's trying to water that. So we have to look at 2 Corinthians 13:5 in a different light. Once we read the Bible, the test comes. Whether you want it or not, the test is going to come.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because one of the frustrations that you'll get in your patience is that you'll think about the times when you was in the world. We're going to the Halloween mass party. I've never been to one, but you know what I'm talking about. I know people say, well, the goblins and goblins are there. She's dragging you. Huh? Tell me where's your mask at? Come on, let's go. I'm just being crazy. Or to the disco, or the concert, or the club. Huh? Ain't nobody waiting late then. Huh? You tell me, nigga, you just beat me there. I'm going to already be there. I get it free anyway.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's free at 10.
It's free, yeah, all that business. So just something to think about, right? You know, so like I said, we have to take this serious. If we are looking to really get the kingdom, we have to take these words and these lessons seriously. Take them seriously. Okay? Read on.
Mark chapter 4 and verse 17. And have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time.
They endure but for a time. They only endure for a time. Why is it that they only endure for a time? Because they never applied what they've been reading. They never practiced it. They never put it into action. They never got built up in it. They never had their senses exercised, so you can understand, to know good and evil, like you read in Hebrews. They never got the practice of how to really war against evil spirits. So when the evil spirits came against them, they faltered because they did not have the spiritual aptitude to help fight off those demons. Y'all all right? And that's how a lot of brothers and sisters get taken out, because they don't have it in the can to know how to fight these demons. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Now we in the leadership, we understand that our brothers and maybe at the moment don't have all of the defenses, like when we read in Ephesians chapter 6. Put on the whole armor of God. We know that in every man and every woman, there's still kinks in our armor. So we are trying to protect you from the parts of your spirit that's weak. That's the reason why Paul also said that he cried for days, 3 days, I think it said, warning about the wolves that was coming in to destroy the flock. You know what I'm talking about? So the leader takes the brunt. The leader tries to take try to do the homework for you, so to speak, to protect you, because your minds are not ready to receive the evil that's waiting for you. So the leadership basically jumps in the way to protect you. And they try to hold that line so that you have a chance to get built up, so that when your day comes, you can say, okay, now I see why the leadership protected me from those days there. Now I see better now. Now I'm a little bit more ready. Y'all understand? That's what we've been doing behind the scenes. Okay? And we've been doing that with the power and the prayer of the Lord, and that's the reason why he made sure that our Passover was an absolute success. Give the Lord a hand for that thing. So as we were finish reading that, I'm only going to 18. And then we're going to get on with the lesson.
Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake.
That's the part that I want to write there. When what?
Affliction.
When affliction, let's go slow. When affliction, go ahead.
Or persecution. Arises for
comes at you.
For the word's sake.
For the what sake?
For the word's sake.
See, when you're outside the Bible, you're still out there in the world, the word didn't cause these things to happen. But when you come in, you're learning the word, and because you're learning the word, here comes the trials. Here comes the persecution. Here comes the evil. Here comes the slander. Here comes the dirt sheets in the magazines and so forth. Here comes SPLC. Here comes your brother lying and trying to scheme on you, trying to scheme on your wife, trying to scheme on your husband. All that kind of business coming at you. For the word's sake. When it says for the word's sake, because the ones that's bringing the affliction to you hate the word. And if you hate the word, you're going to side with them and you're going to leave the word. But if you're going to stand for the word, you're going to say, get behind me, Satan, get the hell out. Get to stepping. Can y'all dig it? Read.
Immediately they are offended.
Immediately they are offended. Why are they offended? Because they did not study. They did not put it in their spirit. So when the evil spirit first left them and it came back with a vengeance, then that evil spirit found you swept and garnished, and it brought 7 more demons in worse than the demon that was in you when you first came in the door. Because that one demon went out there and electrified 6 more demons and said, we all going into this brother or the sister. And we bring in the chandelier, we bring in the disco ball, we bring in all that in when we come back. Okay? That's what the deal is. Dramatizing it a little bit, but y'all get the point, right? So we have to make sure that we are not playing games when we come in this truth. Now, let's get to the scriptures. We've been in the scriptures, but let's get some more. Proverbs 31, verse 27. Proverbs 31, verse 27.
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
And eateth not, so this starts talking about the woman now. And she eateth not the bread of idleness. Idleness. Meaning a Bible need to be in that house. Put your head into that Bible and find out what you can do to elevate your mind on some righteousness. Turn off the television. Turn off the internet talking foolishness. Get off the phone gossiping with friends from way back when. No, brothers. No, sisters. Read that again. This is talking about, this is Proverbs 31. This is the chapter about the virtuous woman. Read that again.
She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not.
She looketh well to the, let's break all that down. She looketh well to the way of her household. Meaning that she's looking around the house that she's supposed to be a guide unto. I said something there. What did the scripture say about the young woman? Get married and what? Let's get this, because brothers are off the point. Let's put that together. We're reading about a virtuous woman for just a couple of scriptures. It's, what is it? Yeah. Like 5 or something. One of them. You got it? Let me hear it.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 4. That they may teach the young women
That's it right there.
to be sober.
That they may teach. The older women are supposed to teach. So elder women have a responsibility in this truth. Read that again.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober.
That they may teach the young women to be sober. Meaning not in gossip, not in evil. Sober meaning sober-minded when it comes to these scriptures. They got to know that. Go ahead.
To love their husbands.
To love their husbands.
To love.
That's what they're supposed to be teaching them. Teach them how to love their husbands. Well, because they ain't talking about loving boyfriends. Love their husbands. Meaning you're supposed to be preparing these women for marriage. Preparing these young, not for no boyfriend and girlfriend, for marriage. Keep your damn legs closed until you get married. Read.
To love their children.
To love their children.
To be discreet.
To be discreet. That's what they're supposed to be being taught. Go ahead.
Chaste. Keepers at home.
Keepers at home. Keepers at home. Did I leave out something? Did I get my point out? Because I ain't looking at it. What's the beginning of the verse? Guide the house. Is that part in there?
You want 1 Timothy 5.
That's what I want. So now read that. We're coming to Timothy's. Y'all on the roll now.
To be discreet.
To be discreet.
Chaste.
Chaste.
Keepers
Chaste
at
means discipline. Chaste, because a lot of times we just gloss, like I said, you can't just gloss over words. Chaste comes from the word chastity. Chastity means disciplined. Chastisement. That's what the word is talking about. Chastity. You ain't just wild and crazy. Just do what you want to do. Your attitude is in strict adherence to the guidelines of this Bible. Go ahead.
Keepers at home.
Keepers at home, meaning know how to keep the house together. No gossip. So when the brother gets through warring all day long, he comes home, he got peace. That pillar of rest. He got all of that. You fix his head up, anoint him with some oil, he's ready to go out there and tear the world up again the next day. Huh? Y'all read about that when Zerubbabel brought that thing to the king? Said this man, when the man got this woman that's home doing the right thing, he'd go through countries, tearing people up to bring riches and diamonds and everything back home to his love. She told me want a diamond ring. He get a ring so big she can't even carry it. Huh? Y'all understand what I'm saying, right? Hook her up. Read.
Good. Obedient to their own husbands.
That's what she's supposed to be learning, how to be obedient, not to her boyfriend, to her own husband. Husband, marriage. That's what we're talking about. Y'all all right? Is that it?
That the word of God be not blasphemed.
Ooh, that the word of God be not blasphemed. You know how a woman could do something so heinous, and you'd be like, what kind of Bible have you been reading? Huh? The action, you like, what the hell? Brothers in Atlanta got a sound effect. What the hell? Well, I was laughing at it. I was thinking it was funny as hell. And it was, what the hell, you know? But that's what it's talking about, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Because people get to know you sisters. They get to see you in your dress code and all of that. And then they look you and they watch you. And then they see you do some video vixen foolishness later on. They be like, well, what the hell was she studying? You make the law. You say, well, hell, I ain't sending my daughter into that place. I ain't going in there. I ain't want no wife from that. Is that the kind of stuff they're producing? Can y'all dig it?
Yes, sir.
So you women have a vital role. We read it. Where we at?
1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14.
Yes.
I will therefore that the young women marry.
That's the job of the elder women, to teach these young women about getting them a husband, not a boyfriend. And that's where the proving process comes in. You get to meet the parents, get to meet everything, and make sure that everybody is adhering to the scriptures. That's when you're going to have success in your generations. That's when we're going to have, like what the enemy said, we won't have a fractured organization, so to speak. That's when your children will be properly nurtured in the righteousness of God. Like it says in another part of the scriptures, teach your children wisely. Y'all all right? That's how that works. So work is involved. Idleness destroys all of this. You got idleness on your mind. Everything that we read is garbage. An idle soul will destroy everything. So we can't be idle in this truth. You women can't be idle. You men can't be idle. Was that it?
No, sir. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house.
Guide the house. That's it. Now, I'm not telling them that they can't have a job. Because I know how the Negro are, and the Negroes are. The Negro. I know how he is. They saying that women can't work. BS. But her job is to guide that house. Okay? That's her primary job. You want to get a job outside the house? All praise to the Most High. But you cannot neglect your primary duty. Let me say that again. You cannot neglect your primary duty. These children have to be guided by you. And if they're not guided, the world going to get them and destroy them. So our men got to make sure that they're doing the right thing so that you can do the right thing by their children. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir. So what did Dick just say? There's order and structure. Okay? You women, you guide in the house. But that man, he's going to oversee that's being done. He's overseeing his responsibilities unto the Most High, to Christ, and vice versa, Christ unto God, and it trickles all the way down. Okay? So like when that man come home, he's overseeing, he's checking to see how's everything here. As soon as he steps through the door, he gonna look, he gonna check things out. What the kids doing? What the wife doing? He gonna look around. You think he ain't gonna oversee? You think he ain't gonna say nothing?
Yeah. Or he find Kelly in the closet. The hell is this? He's coming out, and the man running, picking up his drawers, running out the damn back window. I just threw that in there. Huh? That's when you gotta get the shotgun. Y'all all right?
D, let me say this too, because we've been having some beautiful weddings and marriage, but we've been getting the true scriptures from the Bible, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves as husbands and wives and children. Am I right? We never got that. When you go into the Christian church, they will neglect to say, where even when I read here where it says to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husband. When you hear that word during those Christian marriage ceremonies, they'll say, you promise to love and obey your husband. They neglect to even say that anymore. Am I right, brother? They neglect to even say that because women get fidgety. Obey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But it's even in the scriptures. Obedient to their own husband.
And they got the biggest hat on in church. Their hat go the whole row.
What Deke is saying is the checklist is different. So for the wife, what the Most High is going to judge her on is how she's taking care of her husband. The Most High is going to judge us on how we're taking care of the nation. So you can't look at your husband and say, well, you're not doing this. If you gear him up to do what he's supposed to do, he's supposed to teach the nation. You're supposed to guide the house. So you're going to be judged on that. We're going to be judged on how we're dealing with the nation, how we're dealing with the Israel. So understand that the guidelines are different when it comes to men and women.
Right. Where's my thing?
Yeah, and the man ruling the house properly is making sure that the family is being properly taught. That's how that goes. Okay, so that I don't want y'all to misunderstand what he said. Yes, the man's authority is to set this earth in order, but that house has to be in order before he does that. So we got that straight. But like I said before, the primary duty of that woman is to guide that house. Okay, he is to set the house in order. Sister, you do this. Brother, you sons, daughters. He set the order. Then he goes out and take care of business in the world. That's how that. And when he comes home, he's supposed to find his garden all upside down, his field all plowed by some other man, so you can understand. Y'all get it? He's supposed to find that. Tell me something. I was bored. Huh? That's what you got to come home instead of the box of roses. You got a shotgun in the doggone. Let me ease back. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
I say, yeah, I got some red roses, all right. Pow! Just a little bit of humor. Where we at?
Still in 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 14. I will therefore, 5 and 14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house.
Guide the house.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Give no occasion for the adversary to speak reproachfully. You know what that means? Media will come around and interview the wives in your absence. But sister, you don't get, here's a slick talk. You are, sister, you know, we here to liberate you, sister, because you ain't out on the front lines like the men are. Look, and should be showing videos. Look, it's nothing but men. Men teaching, men going here, men doing that. But what about you women? You don't get to do nothing. You done forgot your role already. He gets to talk about something. Don't you want some of that shine? Huh? Then to put the microphone in her mouth, put the cameras on her, put her on TV, give her own talk show, and you can't shut her mouth up. Her mouth is wide as Madison Avenue. Can't tell her nothing. Talking garbage and craziness. Read that again. That's the enemy.
Give none occasion to the adversary.
If the woman is instructed properly, they will give no occasion. Meaning you're not giving them the chance to speak evil of you with your attitude or nothing. All that's getting shut down. A righteous woman is going to be like, listen, get the hell out of here. Talk to my husband. That's it. But no, give me the mic. I got something to say. Let me bring something out. Give me that mic. Go ahead, brothers. Read.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Give no occasion for the adversary to speak reproachfully. Reproachfully mean a bad reputation against you, your family, your husband, everybody. You done gave them bad intel. You done gave them bad, you gave all the business to the enemy. What was the words that it said there? Give none occasion to who?
To the adversary.
To the adversary, meaning they're opposing the devil. Here the devil comes to you talking about, say, here's your chance to live, woman. Eve I'm talking about. Huh? You ain't got to live by them laws. You ain't got to follow that man, Adam. Because if you did this, you'd be like him. You remember reading that? He didn't want you to, they don't want you to know this sister, because you'll be gods like them. She said, yeah, that tree looked good. I'm going to eat. Bird box. That'd be some of our wives.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Give no occasion for the adversary to speak reproachfully, meaning shame you, shame your house, shame your children, your husband, everybody. And that's exactly what happens. They come in and they bring the microphones, and you see them with some of these Israelite groups. These different independent reporters and television crews getting an interview on the wife. Here go the wife. One of the wives told us, yeah, he gave me we couldn't even afford a hamburger. I saw an article that had something to that level in there. Women were mad, talking about something, yeah, we don't get no shine, nothing. And the enemy ran with that and put all the business up in a newspaper. Made the camp look horrible. Talking to the sisters that knew nothing. So it's important for these women to learn this Bible and inquire about this Bible so that you're not caught off guard. But I'm going to tell you, the last thing I need is to be embarrassed. I don't like that. No man wants to be embarrassed. That's a horrible thing. And you got the enemy embarrassing you. Putting your business out there. No, brothers. No, sisters. No. Yeah. Those days of the Geechee is gone, and the men and the women. Get rid of that thing. Read. Where we at?
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 27.
Yes, sir. Come
she
on.
looketh well to the ways of her household.
A wise woman, a virtuous woman does what?
Looketh well to the ways of her household.
She looketh well. She looketh well. If thou doest well, like the Lord told Cain. If you would have done well. See, that's W-E-L-L. Just ain't talking about well like I feel good. No, it means commandments-wise. Like he told, do you know what I'm talking about when I said that with Cain? How many? No? Get it? Get it? Yes, yes. Get it? Get it for them. Get it for them. Get it for them. So they know what I mean. It's going right back to them. See how much you can get out of that one scripture? This is an example of what they call it, getting all the meat off the bones. This is one of those examples. Get all the meat off the bones, the butter, everything.
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
But unto Cain, the Most High had not respect unto his offering. Why? Because Adam taught both his sons the law of sacrifice. That's what it was. Meaning that, like you read about Abel, Abel went and got the firstling of the sheep, which is according to God's law. Y'all all right? So when he taught when he taught Abel, I think I said it wrong the first time, right? Adam taught Cain and Abel. That's what I was trying to say. When he taught Abel, and he also taught Cain. The father did that. House in order. Y'all all right? Go ahead.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And
So
Cain,
wait a minute. He said, but unto Cain and to the offering you bringing me, Cain, I don't have respect for that. Why? Because you knew better. Your daddy taught you better. What the hell are you bringing me bushes for? Go ahead.
and Cain was very wroth.
And Cain was, listen, this is the woman. She mad because you correct her. And Cain was mad. Cain was mad. Did Cain know better? Yes. So why was he mad? Because he had the devil on him, that's why. Just like some of these women have the devil on them. When you be trying to correct them, they yelling back at you, and you tell them, what the scripture, you arguing. What the scriptures, I'll get that out of the scripture. Y'all all right? I'm over drama, I'm just doing it. No, I didn't have a bad week either. Somebody said, damn, man, Deep must have put through some stuff. No, I ain't had none of that. I ain't had none of that. The Spirit just said, bring it up. Just a little bit of it. Y'all all right? Read.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. He's frowning, mad. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth?
He said, what the hell? What are you frowning for? What in the world are you frowning for? As if you didn't know better. Go ahead.
And why is thy countenance fallen?
And you got the nerve to frown at me. Go ahead.
If thou doest well.
If thou doest what?
Well, shalt thou not be accepted?
What was the well that he was talking about? The commandments. If thou would have did the commandments like Abel did, Negro, I would have accepted you too. Y'all all right? That's that well right there. W-E-L-L. Y'all all right? Y'all got it? Now let's go back to that woman.
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household.
She looketh well to the ways of her household, meaning that she's applying the commandments to everything she does. So not only is she reading and studying, but every situation she's applying God's commandments to it. When she's cooking the food, she's making sure that the commandments are there. When she's sewing your garments, she's making sure that the commandments are there. Ribbon and a border of blue, this and that and the other. The fringes around the garment. That's looking well. She's practicing all of the laws. Looking well. Go ahead.
And eateth not the bread of idleness.
And eateth not. She ain't got no time for ruckus. For foolishness. For gossip. No. That's what you want, brothers. Sisters, that's the kind of sisters y'all want to be. Y'all all right? That's what's going to change the planet. Let me say that again. That's what's going to change the planet Earth when we get ourselves in order. Y'all don't know about that. I'm going to make sure I read that today. That the Earth is begging for us to get our SH together. Where we at? That was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. Ecclesiastes 10 and 18.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 18. By much slothfulness.
By much slothfulness. Lazy. Bum. You got to drag him. You got to force. You got to kick him in the behind to make him do what he's supposed to do. By much, what? Read that again.
By much slothfulness.
By much slothfulness.
The building decayeth.
The building decayeth. Imagine this building that we're in, and we got more work to do. That's on the agenda. And we starting to get it in. I was waiting to get past the Passover season. We're going to start lighting up these fires that we got going on in these Carolinas. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
That's all I'm talking about. Read that again.
By much slothfulness.
By much slothfulness.
The building decayeth.
The building decayeth. Just imagine if the brothers weren't just doing simple things like cleaning up, taking the garbage out. Imagine just that. If we were slothful in that, because a lot of times that gets overlooked. Not by me. I don't overlook none of it. I know how special that is. But let's say nobody wants to pay attention to the man that's just cleaning up the bathrooms. If you continue to allow that to happen, the whole building will come down on us eventually. Rats and roaches, mice, bats, everything will be up in here. Huh? Then comes the Negro. Here comes next, the grand finale of the destruction. Selling crack, weed, all that will end up coming in here. I'm just going a little bit. Y'all dig what I'm saying, right? But if there's no effort to keep the building together, by not being slothful, we're going to end up losing everything.
Let me say something. Let me say something. Are y'all hearing this word, brothers, sisters? This key words is coming out. When the Most High, going back to Cain, the Most High dealt with him. He didn't just kill him.
There you go.
He didn't just kill him. He didn't just become a roaring lion. A lot of times you hear that even from sisters. He become a lion in the house. But there was times when the Most High was dealing with that man. Long suffering with that man. And there's time when that man is dealing with you as a wife. Long suffering with you likewise. And then when he says something, or when he has to kick in his authority, or when the Most High has to come down on us as men, because what? We've been slothful. He's been telling us, he's been showing us, what you upset for? Just do this, that, and the third. But then we get slothful. Let's bring it out. Sometimes husbands can say something to their wives, they hear them, but then they want to try to be slothful about it. A man can see that. We can see that spirit. Or when we give an order to a brother or to our kids, didn't I tell you clean? You want to try to be rebellious. That's what it is. Right. It's a spirit of witchcraft. It's a spirit of rebelliousness. That's what it is. And you trying to drag it out to see if you can try to get your way or conjure up strife. That's evil, brothers, sisters. That's evil. That's evil. Young men back there, y'all hear what the word coming out? Because it applies for every last one of them, even from up here to back there. Right. For our children as well. When we're told to do something, the Most High is long suffering with us. When we all don't deserve to be living right now, he could have been put us to death. I'll leave you right there.
That's good.
You're on point, Captain, and I'm getting ready to get into the kids. Don't worry, I got them too. I got them too. So read that again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 18. By much slothfulness the building decayeth.
By much slothfulness the building decayeth. So we can't be slothful in this truth. We cannot be slothful in studying and applying the scriptures. Can't be slothful in that. Because the mere fact that we will be slothful in applying what we're reading is going to be the exact same reason why many of us are going to get destroyed. Because when them spirits come against you, you're going to have nothing in your repertoire to fight against that. You're not going to have your armor on like Ephesians talk about to fight against those evil darts that's being shot at you by the wicked every day. Read.
And through idleness of the
and through what?
Idleness of the hands, the house droppeth through.
And through idleness of the hands, men and women. Through idleness, I ain't got nothing to do. How I'm going to just sit here and just make it hot in here. No, man. No. You got work to do. There's plenty of work to be done in the nation of Israel. Plenty of work. And if you can't find the work, then something's wrong with your spirit. Just look outside. You'll see that there's some work that needs to be done. Through much idleness, the what?
Of the hands, the house droppeth through.
Meaning lazy, want to just sit back and do nothing. That ain't the kind of spirits we raising up in here. Men and women. Men have a role, so sisters, don't think I was just throwing a shoe at you. I throw boots at the brothers. I just throw a nice little shoe at you with a nice heel and the diamonds on it. But I throw boots with mud on them. Dirty boots, unshined boots. At the brothers. Y'all all right? We got a lot of work to do, brothers and sisters. And we're going to get it done. All right? We're going to get it done. So now, Mark chapter 7. Mark chapter 7, verse 21.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 21.
Whenever we become idle, these are the things that end up in our spirit.
For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts.
So from within the mind, in our spirits, men and women, if you're idle, these are the things that's going to rest inside your spirit. Read.
Adulteries.
Adulteries is going to rest in your spirit. Looking at this sister, looking at that brother. This is what happens when you're idle.
Fornication.
Fornication.
Murders.
Murders.
Thefts.
Thefts.
Covetous.
Y'all might think this is far-fetched, but the jails are full of our people that have done some of these things. So don't tell me that they're idle hands by grown men being raised up and never been taught how to be a man. They end up getting caught into some of this very stuff that we read. Go ahead.
Covetousness.
Covetousness. You know what? I looked at that word covetousness earlier today. Covetousness. Because that's in the law, the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox and so forth, thy neighbor's wife. So the word covetous is a heavy word. And one of the descriptions of covetousness is inordinate desire. Inordinate desire. Not desire itself. Because people say that, well, I want a house, I want a car, I want to have nice clothes, I want to have this and that. We all want that, don't we, brothers and sisters? It's not our God. Y'all understand what I'm saying, right? Everybody wants certain things. And you need certain things. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking from a materialistic type of thing, but what I'm trying to point out, it's not sinful to want material things because that's what you need. You need clothes to put on your behind. You need a house to live in. You need a car to get around. You need a job. You need things. Y'all follow me? So that's for you to desire those things is not covetous. Covetous is when your desire is inordinate. Inordinate means out of order. Out of order of what? Out of God's laws. When you're breaking God's laws to get what you desire, that is called covetousness. When you're lying to get fame, you're covetous. When you're scheming on brothers and sisters to take what brothers and sisters may have, that's covetous. When you're slandering to try to destroy them because you want their shine, that's covetousness. You follow me? You try to set up a brother so that him and his wife split up so that you can get the wife. That's covetous. Yes, the Negro is something, brothers. Negro will do that. Wife the same way. Can you show me the scriptures? Show me the scriptures, please. My husband, he just ain't good at it all. You break the scriptures down. I just love the way you break down the scriptures. You're your simple ass, don't you? Next. Read.
Covetousness. Wickedness. Deceit.
All of these things is in the mind of the Negro. All of these things is in the mind of an idle man or woman. Read on.
Lasciviousness.
That's lewd sexual deviancy. Meaning outside of your marriage, so you can understand clearly. Okay? Lasciviousness is wicked, filthy, abominable, sexual thoughts. Y'all all right? Some of that nasty stuff. I don't even know how to really go into that subject. I know the Negro have tried everything, and some of the stuff I didn't even want to even attempt to watch. I remember I was sitting with the bishop. He was going over, he was talking about something, and this was when he was in the field when he was at work. And he was saying that when they have to respond to certain situations, he'd run up on certain, when people come to investigate certain things. Y'all understand what I'm saying, right? And he ran across some information that led him and led the squad that he was with, that they were going to have to deal with what was known as Scat Brothers. I said, Scat, what the hell is that? He said, you don't want to know. I said, come on, Bishop, you get that. He said, no, you don't want to know. And I tried to go into the depths of what it meant. He said, it's lower than that. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. There's just certain things you just don't want to go into. But certain fields that you might work, you might end up going into some of these places that, like the basement in Pulp Fiction. Places like that. You were like where they kept the Gimp down there. The dude that they kept in a cage with a mask on. Some crap like that. You'd be like, damn, these places really exist? That's the level of lasciviousness I don't want to know nothing about. You know, all right? But the scriptures say it's here. Because you can't, when I'm trying to think about it, you can't really put a definition, a full definition on it. You got concupiscence, then you have lasciviousness. Lasciviousness, well, let's look that word up. Let me get the context. Maybe, lasciviousness. What happened? Yeah, that sounds like it. Put lasciviousness up there, because maybe I'm going off into the woods.
Lasciviousness.
Yeah.
Of a person, manner, or gesture, feeling or revealing an overt and often offensive sexual desire.
You see, that's the last part is what I needed. Often offensive sexual desire. Sex ain't supposed to be offensive. God made sex. You follow me? It ain't supposed to be offensive. When you getting into the borders of offensive, you talking about rape. That could fall up under that. Huh? Knocking a woman upside the head, she's bleeding, head half cut off so that you can stick her. That's a level of lasciviousness in thought. You want to put her in handcuffs and beat the hell out of her. Tie a red ball around her head or some foolishness. I can't even imagine some of the wickedness that go on. But let's read the scripture, because I'm going too far. Help me out. Come on, man.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 29. Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright.
God hath made man upright, gave him the laws to live by. But listen.
But they have sought out many inventions.
But the man have sought out many inventions outside of what God made. That's how you end up with some of that foolishness I'm talking about. That ain't in the Bible for you to tie a woman up and beat the hell out of her. Huh? Hell, some of them want to beat the man up.
Well,
I said, tie the man up.
Yeah, I was going to say,
grab the man. Said, grab him.
Right.
Tie him up.
Right.
Flip him over. The hell is this?
Right.
Oh, God, Jesus.
Esau done those things to us. Even to our men, to our young boys, not just our women, to our men and our young boys and our young girls.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again? Right, boys were harlots.
That's in the scripture.
There was some lascivious things that they done. Well, I've seen pictures of men tied to posts, stretched out on their stomach. Now, we just leave it right there because it's sad. Lasciviousness is sad. Smutty, dirty, perverted. It could go on.
I've read some documents where you just see, I ain't going into this. I'm going to get off this train. I'm going to get off this train after I say this.
It's a rough one.
But they used to do that in slavery, tie the man up. And the master used to rape him in front of the family.
Right.
They call, see,
Buck breaking.
they call it buck breaking. You hear that? This vicious, low-down, vile piece of garbage would do this to a man in front of his family. Make his family watch. Strip the man butt naked and throw him over some kind of post and rape him in front of his family. Come on, man. Let's get off the train. Read that Bible again.
Mark chapter 7, verse 22. Thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, proud, foolishness.
All of these things are developed in an idle mind. Can I get a witness? All of these things, listen to me carefully. All of these wicked thoughts and what we read in the scripture is developed in the mind of an idle person. Why? Because if you're really idle, are you really idle? No. Let's examine that. Let me just say it. If you're sitting idle means stagnant. Idle means that you're sitting in one place, not moving. Like when your car is at idle, those of you that drive. When your car is at idle, the car's not moving. If the car sits there, I'm going to use the car as an example. I'm going to use this water as an example. This water in your car sitting at idle for 40 years, what's going to happen to the car? It's going to rust and break down. This water sitting here for 40 years, it's idle, it's stagnant. 40 years later, will this be here? It'll be decomposed and everything. That's what happens to us in the spirit. When you're idle and you're not applying God's laws to remove the idleness, something else comes inside your mind and takes your mind into garbage. Like evil thoughts, like television, like your cell phone, like videos, like text messages. You're sitting idle, but you're entertaining evil because you're not entertaining God's law. And next thing you know, your mind is in the garbage. That's when these attributes begin to come out. Adulteries, fornications, murders, theft, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye. Now you start to look at the brother and the sister that's trying to help you. You like that old nigga. What you coming to pull me away from this dope for? Huh? An evil eye. Blasphemies, pride, foolishness. The scriptures say all of these things come from within and defile the man. They come from within. Why? Because you've allowed evil. Those 7 demons that came back, you've allowed them back into your house and found your head idle, meaning swept and garnished. No laws, no commandments in there. And these demons built a house, put furniture in there, got a color TV in there, kicked his feet up on the ottoman, leaned back inside your head, and you wonder why you're talking crazy. Give me about the kids now. I had enough of that. Oh, one more thing. Let me show you how this happened. Corinthians 15:33. Then we're going to move on down. Let me get these kids. I ain't going to leave them out.
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33.
This is what brings on the demons inside an idle mind. Listen good. Because I said that what turns your idle mind into filth, because it's not idle per se. You're not doing nothing in the positive to fight against the idleness, so your mind is sitting idle. So what's happening? Contaminants of an evil world is starting to erode your senses in God. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Read.
Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
Evil communication from YouTube, from Facebook, Instagram, all those things begin to erode your righteousness, begins to corrupt your good manners, begins to corrupt your conversation, begins to change you, begins to enter into your thoughts. And then your thoughts becomes words. Then your words becomes actions. Then your actions become habits. Then your habits become character. Then your character become your destiny. That's what happens. Read it again.
Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
Evil communication. Lasciviousness. See somebody talking to you about lasciviousness and you're dumb behind sitting there listening to it. You're going to get corrupted. Someone's talking to you about adultery and fornication and covetousness and wickedness and deceit, and you're sitting up there gossiping with it, and you wonder why. You don't wonder because you're blind, you're gone. You sit there and you get poisoned by that, bird boxed, then you're done and you're out toasted, finished. Read.
Awake to righteousness and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of God.
So some have not the knowledge of God. Read 33 again.
Verse 33, be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
So we as parents have to be very careful and selective in what we allow our children to be a part of. We also have to be selective as men, as husbands. We have to be selective in what we allow our wives to get caught up in. I'm going to say that again with boldness. Men have to make sure that their wives are not corrupted by the wicked. Read that again.
Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
So men have to put that hedge around his family. When the scriptures say, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. You have to take care of that woman. So that's why I wanted to back up a little bit about what you were saying. We have an obligation to our family, our wives and children, but our main thing is to set this world in order. So when he comes home and he teaches the family righteousness. This is what it's talking about. You govern what comes inside that house. That's the reason why God put you over the house. He didn't say man and woman first. He said man. He said man, woman, children. That's how he said it. And if you too damn weak to get that thought in your mind, the Most High gonna kill you. I don't know what any way else to say it. The Most High said, if you either gonna do what I say you're gonna do, I have no use for you. Y'all all right? Now, I ain't talking about going home and flip the house upside down, because I know how some brothers are. Deacon told me to go and kick your ass. No, I didn't say that at all. No, because a lot of you ain't right. Don't go home and say nothing. Let it win all over by the spirit of you doing righteousness in this Bible. And if she's a believer, she's like, well, I love my man. And I see that this truth is doing something good for him. And I want to follow him. That's how that's supposed to go. Y'all all right? Brother coming here 1 week, next week you want to come home with combat boots and kick the woman. And they've been in wickedness for 30 years. Got his camp garment on. Don't even fit him yet. He got to grow into it. Y'all all right? Oh, man. Listen, so when we're setting the house in order, we're doing that to protect the wives, to protect our children, because we have to put that hedge of protection around them. That's our job as men. The women's supposed to listen to that and keep the house in order. That's going back to what you were saying. Y'all all right? Everybody's clear? Sisters, men, everybody's all right. Now that's laid out. Now let's talk about these kids. These kids. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10. I'm almost done. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee.
Your sons have to notice. Where them sons at? Where they at? Stand up. You men in the back. Stand up on your feet. How many of y'all, when y'all go out here in this world, y'all go to school, right? Talk to me. Speak up. Y'all go to school and y'all out here. Do wicked people come up to y'all and try to entice y'all into wickedness? Yes. Huh? Now, we can have a class and just ask them what kind of wickedness, and a lot of y'all be like, oh, hell no, I didn't know my son was into that. Oh, hell no. Like Captain Hosea said, I like to repeat that. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. This study, hell no. Yeah. Can y'all dig it? But some of the stuff that you will hear your children, your sons and daughters be listening, be involved in, make your head spin. So what the scripture say? Come on.
My son, if sinners entice thee.
Yeah, y'all can sit. But just keep that Bible open. I should keep y'all standing up, but that's all right. That's for another time. Have a seat. Y'all be all right. Read.
Consent thou not.
Hold it. The scriptures say, my son, if sinners entice thee, it's because people want to make you into wickedness. I know what happens when I was a child, when I was your age. Huh? Just barely getting into puberty. Here comes some brothers. They didn't have cell phones then. Can I get a witness? They didn't have videos and all that stuff that you could show around. But guess what they had? Playboy magazines. Talk to me. Huh? Huh? Hustler. All that stuff. These older brothers know what I'm talking about. Showing them their penthouse. Look, the brothers got names for it. Penthouse and all that. Huh? Showing you those things. Now you 9, 8, 10, nasty as hell, looking at these doggone things. What's going to happen as a result of you keep staring at that stuff? Then you're going to start looking at the little girl walking down the street. Well, hell, she don't look like these women in this. That's because she got her clothes on. You try to get her clothes off. Huh? These are the kinds of thoughts that go through. I'm telling you, I've been there. I know how the Negro is. Hey, I ain't talking nothing crazy. We all been there. We all been there. Read on. The scriptures say what?
My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Consent thou not. Now, let me tell y'all something. I wasn't the most, let me put it, let me say it differently. You know, all of us have our level of nastiness. I'm talking about when we were kids. Huh? These little games, spin the bottle, 7 minutes in heaven. Huh? Come on now. Hide to go get it. House, play doctor. Look at these little brothers rocking in the seat. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I'll say that to say this here. There was one brother that I grew up with during them same years. This is New York. His name was Arthur. His mother, I ain't gonna mention too many names, even though I haven't seen him in like 40 years. But I ain't gonna do that. But his mother had like 13 children. I don't even remember, there was no father in the house. And we lived in St. Nick Projects. That's New York, 129th Street. It was 8th Avenue. They renamed it Adam Clayton Powell and Frederick Douglass. 8th Avenue was Frederick Douglass. My sister knows what I'm talking about. She remember all that. The areas. And sister's laughing. And the mother had 13 kids. And the reason why I mentioned the projects, because if you have that many kids, then what they'll do is that they'll open up the apartment next to yours. Bust the walls and, they'll remodel it and all of that. And now you got more bedrooms. You got 2 front doors, and with all that other stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So they lived there. So I said, I used to hang out with him. Now, his family was Muslim. The reason why I mention this is because when we were in wickedness, I was being taught how to steal. I used to run around with some friends. We had to get the button-down jackets. I had a zip-up one. I had a zip-up jacket, and the rest of the brothers had the buttons. And they said, you can't roll with us, man, because you can't steal properly. Because the thing was, with the buttons, you could pop one, and you could just slip something into it. But if you got to go through the zip, the Negro gave me the whole science on how to do the stealing. And because I didn't have the right jacket, I couldn't hang with them. I wasn't in. Then one day I went to steal. This is a funny story. I went to steal, and the man knew my father. And he said, "What you doing?" He said, "What you doing?" He said, "If you don't put that cake back, I would tell your father." And my father wasn't always around like, he was there in the house, he was with us, but he was always busy. But I did not want him on my behind. Y'all understand? But outside of that, the brother Arthur, being that he had a Muslim upbringing, he didn't get involved in none of that stuff. No pork, nothing. Just like what y'all know about so-called Muslims today. They were that strict. The mother used to wear the long thing over her head and all that. The whole family, girls, the men, everybody was into the Muslim stuff. Can y'all dig it? He would not budge with any of the wickedness that we were talking about. And I wanted to be with the brothers. And they was like, listen, you can't, if you can't get it right, you can't be with us. I'll tell you something funny outside of it. Let's tell y'all a little bit of stuff. One time, I was running with this brother. We was going in alleys, going inside people's houses. Because like the brownstones in New York, you also have a back door that leads to the back yard or whatever. There's a backyard between like 127th Street, 126th Street. There's a yard that separates the buildings from this street to that street. And you know, that's where people put the mattresses and the old garbage and all that. Sometimes people used to leave their doors open. Here, me and the brother, we go running in there, going in there. We stole this man's wallet, stole somebody, stole that. And then one man saw us and chased us out of there. We running, I could run too. But my friend, he fell, he got tripped up, and he cut his whole chin up on an old box spring. Cut his whole joint up. I had to go back and get him and carry him to our house. And my mother poured peroxide. That's when I learned about peroxide. I was thinking that was alcohol I was gonna burn. I said, yeah, she poured the peroxide on it and it just sizzled up and I didn't hear him scream. I said, what the hell? What kind of, you know? But these are just some of the wild, and I was like, how old was I? Like 8, 9 years old. You know, I've seen one of my friends got killed in the subway system, crossover, electrocuted. You know, I've seen a lot of crap. Seen a lot of, you know, outside of that, you know, there's a lot of ugliness that I've seen at times. You know, a lot of ugliness. But anyway, let's get back to the scriptures. See, a little story time. Y'all didn't mind that, right? All right. Read.
Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10. My son, if sinners...
I was starting to drift. Y'all better, one of y'all better snatch me, man. Like Bishop be saying. Bishop said, man, y'all just let me go off on a tangent. And your brother's doing the same damn thing. I'm telling you. Just let me roll. Come on.
If sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Don't go with them. Talking to you young men in the back. Y'all all right? Y'all hear me? I could have died. I had many situations coming up that I was supposed to be dead. I remember I played hooky from school. Went chasing after these little girls again. And almost died. I ain't gonna tell you how. Almost died. Almost died. And the brothers had to save me. I was out over at 100, there was a school, PS 157, they made it an apartment building now. And there's a park next to it. And there was this big rock that we were trying to climb over because they said the girls was that way. And I went over and I got stuck. And you know when you're trying to climb over a big rock and you're trying to grab the next thing? And I couldn't grab nothing, but my feet was already off. So I was just there. So I'm scared to move, because if I move, I might slide. And if I look down, I can see the top of buses. I see the street, the sidewalk, because it was on the edge of Morningside Avenue. That's where I was at. Right across from Lionel Hampton Projects. So I'm looking down, and I see the top of buses and all that. And the brothers had to go get some jump rope and feed it down to me to pull my stupid behind up. And pull me to safety. Okay, so that's and I'm talking, this is in the, what was it, 71, 72, 73? Huh? Superfly days. That's what the time period that was. So you can imagine what kind of wickedness our people are into now. Y'all all right? Okay, come on back to the scriptures now.
My son, if sinners entice thee...
This goes for women too. I'm going to throw this at the women too, because a lot of women get shown certain things. They grab your little girls in the school, showing them little, hey, look at this, sex videos. They be showing you little girls that, showing your sons that, showing you these things to get you all riled up. You don't know what the hell it is. Here you are, yeah. You're getting all into that daggone thing. Or let's try this dope. Let's try this ecstasy. Different stuff. That's how these kids get hooked up. And they be right there in your house, in the room with the doors closed. You don't know what the hell's going on. Especially when they got this. Can I get a witness? You sons in the back, y'all understand what I'm talking about? Read.
My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Don't go with them. Do not follow, like the scriptures say, follow not a multitude to do evil. That's what the law says. But if our children are not taught this, they're going to get caught up in this. If our sons and daughters are not taught this, they will get caught up in this. Read.
If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood.
Come with us. Let us lay wait for blood. Go ahead.
Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause.
This was me. Talking about robbing people. Go ahead.
Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole, as those that go down into the pit.
We're going to whoop the hell out of him. We're going to take his money. Huh? Punch him in his eye so he can't see. All the guys. You understand? Some real wickedness. Some wickedness. Go ahead.
We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil.
Whatever, we get the money. Got a roll of money here, not there. And this be these winos' money. Huh? These old cats. Go ahead.
Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse.
So when we all got together, it's amazing. We did this. Before we went home, we got to one area. How much did you get? Because we had like crews. One go down to 139th Street, one go over here, go there. Go ahead.
My son.
So everybody put their purse together. Now, I wasn't no little bad kid like that. Y'all understand what I'm saying? 'Cause I couldn't laugh. I was going to end up dead. I was going to end up dead soon. You know. So the Lord, again, intervened. And said, nigga, I'm sitting you behind down south. 1975, we was sitting down here. But I was caught up in a lot of this little bit of foolishness. Little bit of it. And when you're getting older, you just start getting into that stuff. Go ahead.
My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path.
This is the instructions that we as parents have to do with our children. Because everybody ain't going to make it. Like I said, a few of my friends got killed. Go ahead.
For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird.
You stopped at 16, right? Yeah, you went past it. Just stop at 16. We're going to go somewhere else. So, it said, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. This is what's going to end up happening to the idle minds of our children that are not taught God's laws. Y'all all right? Some of our children have already entered into the door. And the Lord gave you an alert point. He said, hey, you're about to lose your son. You're about to lose your daughter. So you might have to take some, what's the word that I use? Some pragmatic, radical steps to save them. You understand? And sometimes the thoughts that come in my mind is like grabbing you so hard that you'll make your neck, that kind of thing. Because I said, I'm not going to allow you to destroy yourself because you don't know better. You understand? So my point is we have to really be real serious about directing our men and our women. Because our men, I'm talking about our young kids, our young men and women, they are being targeted. They are targets for the enemy. They are targeted. When they go to school, the school system is basically a school to prison pipeline. I had a whole class that I was going to do on that. About how our children going into the school system, not learning anything about themselves, become complacent, displaced, apathy sets in. They feel like the school ain't, they say, well, I ain't really going to be anything like I'm seeing on TV. So they begin to drift into other things, which gets them in trouble. Like getting in trouble with the police. They got police in the schools now. Stuff like that. Zero tolerance. And these things get put on your record and they stay there. And that lines you right up for prison. Juvenile detention. Prison, jail. And when you go to jail and they put that thing on you, you finish, you F for life. You'll understand that. You young men, you men in the back, y'all understand that?
Yes, sir.
So, there was more in there. You was reading 17. Read on.
Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 17. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird.
Go ahead.
And they lay wait for their own blood.
They lay wait for their own people. That's what we do. We weren't talking about robbing white folks. We weren't stealing from white people. This was all old men. We ain't hit no old lady upside the head. We weren't that stupid. Y'all all right? We ain't get that crazy. Not yet. We ain't hit no old men either. We just stole when they weren't looking. Huh? And almost lost our lives for it. That man chased the hell out of us. Huh? That was a scary damn time. I still remember that damn thing like it was yesterday. He just blew. I looked around, he was
Coming to get you.
huh? And the thing had cut so bad, you could see the white coming out of the meat. That scared the hell out of me. Yeah, down to the white meat. And then I saw that happen to my own self when I fell out of a swing trying to play Spider-Man. And bust my sister remember that. Bust my knee in the park, St. Nicholas Park. Gashed my knee wide open. So the Lord said, you know what, time to get this boy out of here. He's going to end up dead. So, read.
They lurk privily for their own lives.
They lurk privily for their own lives, their own people. That's what we've been setting up. Go ahead.
So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain.
That's because we didn't know better. And we think we're going to get gain, and the only thing we're going to get is jail time in Potter's Field. Go ahead.
Which taketh away the life of the owners thereof.
And that's what we would do. We would have gotten into that part if the Lord didn't intervene. Because that's how a lot of these little wild murderers grow up. They come in the same path. It's amazing that kids growing up in the inner city, they all pretty much have the same kind of upbringing. Minus my friend, like I told you about Arthur. I learned a lot of electronics and stuff like that while watching him. He used to find old radios. He found a radio in the water and took it home and fixed it. And I was amazed. I said, what the hell? And I was fascinated with electronics after that. So that's how I got into that field a little bit. Y'all all right? But it was sparked by him. He fixed everybody's fans and all. I mean, this brother was everywhere. Muslim dude, you know. Thought he was Muslim, but he was a cool brother. Where am I at? So basically, our job is to bring our children up properly, guide them, teach them, guide them. Do not allow them to guide themselves, because if you allow them to guide themselves, guess what? The enemy will guide them. That's what's going to guide. They're never going to guide themselves. When they sit idle because you're not guiding them, the enemy going to come in and guide them. That's how we lose our children. Every generation we lose our children. Because I know how the system is. It's too busy. Everybody got to work. And it's all designed. Like I said, the evil against us is no joke. Both parents got to be outside the house working all kinds of hours. They can't pay no attention to their child at all. That's exactly what Esau and Edom and the enemies want. And then they pump your child up with a cell phone, with internet, with wild, crazy friends, so-called, and the next thing you know, you done lost your baby. You done lost your child. Y'all all right? So we have a responsibility, brothers and sisters. We have to. If we don't find a way, I'm saying it that way because the Bible tells us how to do it. But if we don't take this seriously, we will lose the nation of Israel, because that's the next generation that must know what we know and beyond. Y'all all right? Y'all understand that? Okay, so the point that I'm making to that is that when we refuse correction through the trials and chastisement that the Lord is bringing upon us, as we come into this body and become into Christ, we ultimately lose our own selves. Okay, so the Lord is trying to teach us certain things. He teach us in the way that when we grew up, He showed us mercy by sparing, like He spared my life, and He spared your lives. We better take that opportunity to really do the reverse and do something for the Lord instead of against it. Y'all all right? That's what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. Okay, what do you want to say?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Hey, can I get the scripture of Sirach 30 and verse 3?
I'm almost done, by the way.
Because, hey, what Deacon's touched on was very heavy. He said, if we don't do it, the enemy's going to do it. So when your kids, when they teach your kids become an avenger against you. But when you teach your own kids become an avenger for you. Read that.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
So I'm saving that one. But go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No. I ain't going to read that today. So go ahead and hit it.
Okay.
That's later.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
Before your friends you shall rejoice, because your kids is growing up in the path of the law, the commandments. And before your friends, he's going to become an avenger. So when you're long gone, your kids is going to be doing the work of the Lord. As Psalms 94 and 16 goes into, who will stand up for the Lord. That's all I got, D.
All right. Well, that scripture that you just read that scripture again. I want something else out of that.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3.
Since you touched it.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
Stop. That's the part I want to write there. He that teaches his son or his daughter grieveth the enemy. Grieveth the enemy. Meaning makes the enemy mad. Why? Why? And it go back to that Timothy 5 and 14, whatever that scripture was, about the enemy speaking reproachfully. It's the same thought. It's the same thought.
1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 14.
Listen.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak.
In order for the woman to properly do this, you have to teach her. Read that again.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Read the whole verse.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house.
The women have to be taught that. You have to teach the women that. The wives have to be taught that. The daughters have to be taught that. Go ahead.
Give none occasion to the adversary.
Why? Because when you teach them, you don't give the chance for the enemy to destroy you. You don't give the chance to the enemy to destroy her. That's what it means. Read that part again. Give none
occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
To speak reproachfully. Talk about how wild and crazy your wife is, or your son is, or your daughter is. By you properly teaching them, you don't have to go through that embarrassment. That's what that means. Y'all understand that? Now go back to that other one.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3.
Saying the same thing.
He that teacheth his son.
He that teaches his son.
Grieveth the enemy.
Let's talk about the same person. Grieve makes the enemy mad. Why? Because he won't have the chance to speak reproach. He won't have the chance to speak evil on your part. So what's the objective? To teach. To teach. To teach. That they may teach the young women. That you may teach your son. So that they don't become a victim of all kinds of evil. Y'all all right? You brothers in the back, y'all understand that? I can't hear you. I need to hear you speak up loud. Can I get a witness?
Yes, sir.
They nervous. They nervous. Sound off like you got a pair.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Loud. Say it again.
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's it.
Huh? Right. Yeah. Last scripture. Give me Luke 14. Luke 14, 26. This goes back to what we were talking about when I talk about brothers and sisters coming into the body. I'm going to go through this kind of fast because the main meat is like down in the middle of it. Watch this. Like I said, I'm going to show you how special you are, that the earth is begging for you, for us to get our ish together. Y'all all right? Read.
Luke chapter 14 and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father.
Meaning you don't put your father, mother, anything above God's laws. Go ahead.
And mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, and his own life also.
So that means you're dedicated to this truth, as you say. When the brothers come in, and Satan is trying to take you back out the door. So you really have to make sure that you're following God's commandments. That's what the Lord is saying. Everybody's with me?
Yes, sir.
I went over this a lot of times, so I just skimmed through it. Read.
He cannot be my disciple.
Christ said, if you ain't willing to discipline yourself to follow my law, you cannot be my disciple, regardless of who's against it, including your own Negro mind. That's what he's saying. When he says including your own self also, meaning the self that still is out there in Babylon. You have to cut that off as well and become a new creature. That's what born again is talking about. Read.
And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Whatever issues and problems that you have, bring them in here and let the trials of the Most High purge that from you. I ain't ready to come in yet because I'm still struggling with this. No, come on in here and get your mind right. This is a hospital. We get you right. Don't worry. We put these commandments on you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Go ahead.
For which of you intended to build a tower sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest happily, after he have laid the foundation.
This is us. When we come in, we laid the foundation. We told our mother, father, sister, brother, all that what we read that first verse. I'm following the truth and I ain't with y'all wickedness no more. You told them that. You're on the streets teaching. You're on YouTube. You're doing all of that. You've laid the foundation. Sisters put on their skirt, put on their fringes. They laid the foundation. The little holes that they used to run around with, they cut them off. They said, listen, I ain't running around like that no more. Now, I'm doing this. Go ahead.
And is not able to finish it.
But they've started because now the persecution comes up because now their friends are ridiculing them. They're getting backlash from this one, from that one. Now they're unstable. Now they're unsure. I don't know. They're getting all weak in the spirit. Go ahead.
All that behold it began to mock him.
So they then fell back and went back into the world. Put the pants back on. Brothers went back into selling dope or whatever. Went back into all kinds of evil. Go ahead.
Saying, this man began to build.
Yeah, you was on YouTube. You was there in the congregation with your friends on. Now look at you. You low nigga like me. Go ahead.
And was not able to finish.
You started that and you was preaching to me about cutting this out, stopping that. Now look at you. You right back here selling dope right beside me. Here's a woman. You giving your butt up just like I'm giving my butt up now. To anybody. And you was telling me about fornication. Go ahead. This is what happens when we don't take this truth serious. Read.
Or what king going to make war against another king sit not down first and consulted whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000.
This is the question that we have to make sure that when we are ready to make this move, we got to be serious about it and count all the costs. Go ahead.
Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth
Ambassadors like an ambassador. Go ahead.
And desireth conditions of peace.
When they go back into the world, they got to get back with the same people that they blasted and said, brother, I didn't really mean to hit you with that scripture like that, man. Just let me back into this fold, man. It's just the same thing. Yeah, but you was telling us that we was wicked as hell about sleeping with all kinds of men. You have to, now the woman got to tell you, well, that's making peace. You got to make peace back with the wicked. Go ahead.
So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has.
All that he has, meaning them old desires out in the world. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
He cannot be my disciple.
He cannot be my disciple. So what are they talking about? Yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so. You better do what this Bible says. Read.
Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be seasoned?
This is the bomb that I want to hit y'all with, all class. Read that again.
Salt is good.
Salt is good. What is the Lord talking about? He's talking about his Israelite people. We are the salt of the earth. So the Lord is explaining what it means. Read it.
But if the salt have lost its savor.
How did the salt lose its savor? By becoming wicked. Because our job was to put the nations in order, not be like them. The salt, meaning that we season the earth to be the way the earth is supposed to be. That's what the Lord is saying. Do y'all understand what I'm reading here? That's what this means. You women, you're supposed to be the light of the world in your womanness. Men supposed to be the light of the world in their madness. So you can understand. We have to set the example for the whole planet earth to live by. That's what he means when he calls you Israel. You are the jewels of God. That's how that goes. Read that. Read that again.
Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savor.
How did the salt lose its savor? By becoming wicked. Well, we are no different from the rest of the nations, basically. That's what the Lord is saying. When you want to mingle yourselves back into the nothings, the Lord says you are not the salt of the earth anymore. Go ahead.
Wherewith shall it be seasoned?
Well, then, if you're not going to be the salt that I need you to salt the earth with, how in the world is the earth going to get its salt? That's the reason why I say that if we don't want to be the salt, the Lord's going to kill us. That's what I meant earlier. If we decide that we don't want to be God's salt, the Lord said, well, I have no other use for you. Die. That's how that goes. If you're not going to be what I made you to be, I'd rather kill you. That's what the Lord is saying. Read it again.
Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be seasoned?
How will the earth be seasoned? That's the reason why the scripture said that the earth was made for our sake. Because we are supposed to be seasoning the planet Earth. Go ahead.
It is neither fit for the land.
It is neither fit for the land. What verse are you in?
35.
Go to Romans. Read 34 then go to Romans. Read 34 again.
Luke chapter 14, verse 34.
Hold on. Yeah, 35 is coming up later. Read 34 then go to Romans 8. Because I'm going to get 35. That's coming.
Salt is good. But
I want y'all to pay attention because what I'm reading here is to show you exactly how important you are. You're not just ordinary people. You women are not just ordinary women. You men are not just ordinary men. You are the jewels of God. Every time I say that, I don't think people really understand how serious that is. I'm not just saying it because it makes my teeth white. I'm saying it because I know who the hell you are. Read.
Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savor.
Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its savor.
Wherewith shall it be seasoned?
Wherewith shall the earth get its seasoning from if you're not seasoning the earth? So the earth is in trouble. Go ahead.
Romans 8?
Yes, Romans 8:19.
Romans chapter 8, verse 19. For the earnest expectations of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God.
Is that crystal clear? The earth is so pissed off. The earth said, when the hell are you going to get your ish together so we can get that salt that we need? Read it again.
For the earnest expectation.
For the earnest expectation. The earth is earnestly expecting you to get your ish together. It's earnestly expecting us to get our ish together. Go ahead.
Of the creature waited for the manifestation.
It's waiting for the manifestation
of the sons of God.
Is that crystal clear, brothers? Come on, talk to me. So it's waiting for you. The earth is pissed off. The scriptures say that the whole foundation of the earth is out of course. Why? Because you gods ain't ruling. Go ahead.
For the creature was made subject to vanity.
For the creature was made subject to vanity. Meaning that this earth and everybody in it was made to be under your rule. That's what it's saying. Was made to be under your rule. Go ahead.
Not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope.
Meaning God made it for that purpose. For you to rule over it. Like he told Adam. The whole earth. Your dominion. We're the sons of Adam. We're the sons of God. The whole earth is supposed to be up under us. That's what the Bible is telling us. We run around here running after a damn crack pipe or some dirty woman. Your mind in the gutter. Second Ezra. The whole objective is for us to learn what we were made to be. We are to live up to what we were created for. That's what this gospel is about. This Bible, this little book, is going to resurrect the sons of God to take this planet Earth. Second Ezra 6 and 54. 54 to 59. Come on.
Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen was also made with everybody else. Listen to what God says.
All this have I spoken before thee.
This is Ezra's complaining to the Most High about us not ruling. He had enough sense to know that we weren't in our proper role right here. Read that again.
All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, Because thou madest the world for our sake.
Is that crystal clear, brothers? Because thou madest the planet earth for our sake. That's the reason why the earth is mad. Because we are the ones that are supposed to be the salt of the earth so the earth can properly live. So that the earth can breathe. Like the trees say in Isaiah 14. The fir trees rejoice at thee. Since that devil has been taken down and the Israelites are ruling, everybody breaks forth into singing. Read.
As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
Thou, God, you said that the other nations were nothing. Read.
But be like unto spittle.
And they be like unto spit. That's what you said, God.
And has
He said it in the book of Isaiah chapter 40, so you're going to understand. Ezra is quoting that. Go ahead.
And has likened the abundance of them.
And God, you have likened the abundance of them, put them all together,
unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
All of the nations are as a drop of a bucket. That's what he's saying. All of the nations are equal to a drop that falleth out of a bucket of water. Go ahead.
And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing.
And, O Lord, these nations, these heathens, which have ever been reputed as nothing. Their reputation is nothing. They are not the salt of the earth. You are. Go ahead.
Have begun to be lords over us.
Can you imagine how wicked, and can you imagine how a slap in the face that is? Here's my salt on the earth, and the nations are ruling over my salt. The Lord is mad as hell. Go ahead.
And to devour us.
And they're devouring us like they really got some power. Go ahead.
But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn.
You see that? That's the salt again. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn. Like he says in Exodus 4:22. When he told Moses to tell the Egyptian king, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And if you don't let them go, I will kill your firstborn. That's how that goes. Read.
Thy only begotten and thy fervent lover are given into their hands.
Go ahead.
If the world not be made for our sake.
If the world be not made, if the world is truly made for us. Go ahead.
Why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?
So the prophet wanted to know, he said, how long is this mess going to happen that we ain't in our proper seat? Y'all see that? That's how we're supposed to be. So we should be that much earnest and eager to make sure that our sons are taught properly, that our daughters are taught properly, that our wives are taught properly. So that the enemy don't get to make a fool out of us. Y'all all right? So the point that I was making after reading Ezra saying, how long shall this endure? The point that I wanted to make with that is that we must repent not only for ourselves, but also for our children and our wives, and also the planet Earth needs us. Y'all get that? Y'all get the connection? The reason we not only need to repent, not only for ourselves, for our own sakes, but we need to repent also because our wives and our children need to see that righteous example, but also because the earth needs us, because it was made for us. That's the point I wanted to get out. Y'all understand that? Yes. Everybody's with me. Now, Romans 8:21.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 21.
We were talking about the earth being made. We're waiting for the earnest expectation of us to rise. Come on, 8:21.
Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God.
Is that crystal clear, brothers? Let's read that again. Because the creature itself, this is talking about the earth, everything in the earth, the trees, everything. It says what?
Also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption.
Because the earth is catching hell, the trees are catching hell, the birds are catching hell, the fish, the tigers, everything mad and pissed off. They're in corruption. Read it again.
Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption.
So that's the reason why the earth is waiting for us. Because the earth is mad. The earth is mad. The animals is mad. Everything mad. The earth is out of course. Go ahead.
Into the glorious liberty of the children of God.
So the earth is going to be delivered out of the bondage of corruption, and it will be brought into the glory and liberty of the children of God. Meaning that the earth is going to be properly set up in its proper course. Instead of what it says in Psalms 82 and 5. All of the foundations of the earth are out of course right now because the Israelites are ruling. Because the Israelites are not ruling. Okay? Then it says, ye are gods, meaning the Israelites, but we shall die like men because we fell from righteousness. Y'all understand that? And because we fell from righteousness, all of the foundation of the earth is out of course. That's what it says in Psalms 82 and 5 and 6. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. So read this 21 again. So now the earth is pissed off. This is why I'm saying what it's saying here.
Romans chapter 8, verse 21. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption.
So the earth wants to come out of being out of course. The earth wants to come out of that ugly rule. It wants to come into righteousness, and the earth is mad because the Israelites are the gods of this planet, but they're not ruling. So the earth is pissed off. Go ahead.
And 2, the glorious liberty of the children of God.
And when that happens, that's when the earth is going to jump up with joy, because there's a spirit in the earth, there's a spirit in the trees. That's why I said the trees shall rejoice at thee. Everything going to be happy. Read.
For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together unto now.
Did y'all hear that? It says, for we know that the whole creation is pissed off and groaning and in travailing and in pain together until now. Why? Why, brothers? Because we're not ruling. So the whole earth, you're not just insignificant. So when I made the point, when you come through these doors, it ain't just you just coming in here and sitting. You being groomed to govern the planet Earth because the earth is begging for you to get your ish together. That's what this is saying. Y'all get that?
Yes, sir. Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are Israelites. That's right.
It's so hard to serve God. And why when I say that I'm a Jew, it sound odd. For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sounds wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.